This week's element is element 16, using homework. The desired effect is that students can describe how the homework assignment will deepen their understanding of content or help them practice a skill strategy or process.
All right, everyone get their homework out from last night so that we can go over it for your review.
There are numerous ways to strategically use homework for students to practice and deepen their understanding of the content. Here are some recommendations for classroom practice in using homework. First, assign homework that is purposeful. Homework becomes purposeful when it reinforces student learning. This can be done by providing homework in which students can practice a skill or process that they can do independently, or assignments which allow students to elaborate on information addressed in class, or tasks that give students opportunities to explore topics that interest them. Second, provide students with homework that helps deepen their knowledge. Types of strategies that allow for deepening include making comparisons, classifying, creating similes and metaphors, creating analogies, and error analysis tasks. Third, provide students with homework that enhances students' fluency with procedural knowledge. This approach to homework can involve assigning exercises, activities, performance-based tasks, or project-based tasks. Fourth, encourage appropriate participation from the home with homework assignments. It is recommended that teachers send home suggestions or directions to parents about ways in which they support their child in completion of assignments. Some examples could be providing sample questions for parents to ask their child, or providing roles for the parent to engage in, such as acting as a timekeeper. Overall, homework should have a well-articulated purpose, which aligns to the learning goal and is reviewed with meaningful feedback.
Hi, my name is Hal Dana. I'm at Pineview Middle School. I teach gifted 6th, 7th, and 8th grade science. And today we're going to talk a little bit about homework and why we go about doing homework. So in my classes, why do homework? It's a checkpoint for understanding. I need to have the kids go home, look at what they've accomplished during the day, and the result is going to be, hopefully, that they understand what it is that they've been doing all day. Explore a subject more deeply. It gives them an opportunity to look at a subject outside of the context of school. Opportunity to ponder, to just sit there and think about things. In school, they're really active from the time they get to school until the time they get home. And this gives them a little chance to just think about what it is that they're doing. Time to add creativity. When we do projects, creativity is an incredible piece of excitement. If they can get excited about a project or excited about their subject, then they're going to learn it much, much better. Practice and review. Darn, we have to practice everything. And if we're going to get better at it, we have to go over the subject more than once and review it. Sharing with the family is a great way. It allows the students to actually go and teach and explain what it is that they're doing. If they can teach and explain it, it forms up the concepts in their mind. And finally, active personal participation. It's something they can do without the context of the classroom itself, where they are going to be individually successful.
I think it's really important to really get to know your students and what they've learned through your teaching, and I don't feel comfortable moving on with students if they haven't grasped that concept. So with homework, I like to progress monitor with my students and send home homework that is purposeful to them as an individual.
So for some parents, they're a little bit intimidated, even with first grade math. So when I'm sending math homework home, I have to think about the student need, but I also have to think about how the parents are going to feel about that coming home. Are they going to be able to look at the directions and understand what strategies I'm wanting them to support the children on. So sometimes when I'm thinking about what I want students to practice with math at home, I have to make sure we've practiced it well enough in class that they are comfortable enough to practice it independently at home or with minor support from parents. Sometimes it takes a little extra note to the parents explaining the strategy so that they feel more comfortable with working with their child on a new strategy that they maybe are not familiar with themselves.
I use homework for review purposes. For example, in my Algebra 1 class, you can see my kids, they just did a homework assignment where they took all of the other sections and implemented it into a story problem. So they're using the same skills in a real-world context. The next step after I would review that homework would be to see areas that would need improvement for the said assessment, and I would also be incorporating those types of questions onto their quiz as a task assessment in order to prepare them for the Common Core standards.
Yes, like when they make their scale model house. Everything's mathematically to scale. Their homework is to go home and measure rooms in their house, measure the outside of their house, measure the width of their driveway, so they understand the scale that we're talking about, a 48:1 scale, a 1/4 inch equals a foot. Then we do the math, then we do the designing, then we do the building.
I like read and respond a lot. I like that. And
So you read and then you summarize?
yes, I read and then I summarize about it.
I think projects, because they, like independent study projects is what we do in language arts, and we get to research on whichever topic that we want to, and we get to pick anything that we are interested in to learn about, and we get to pick if we want to do a presentation or like art or a meal or something.
Or a video, you can do multiple choices. There's
Yeah.
a broad choice option. With the homework and projects, if we do projects in class, then when we present them, like our teacher will like write about like our feedback on it and tell us how we can do it better or how we can continue doing it. And for worksheets, sometimes they don't grade them, or they just put a stamp on them or something, and you don't really know what you can do better or learn more about.
We watch videos on Edmodo, then answer questions. Then the next day we answer them again in class. It's like flipped classroom.
And why?
Well, it's good because it's like a review, because sometimes if you don't understand how the teacher explained it, then you can go back and as you're doing it, you can look in the textbook or use other resources for help to help you better understand it. And then the next day, if you have like a test or a quiz, you can use that to help you study so you can get a better grade.
Waste of my time. I want something that's gonna actually like help me out through the future and like actually be worthwhile and worth my time.
If we're doing something in class and you have to read like a book, some chapters, and maybe annotate or something.
When I get homework, like, and I don't really know like how to do it or anything, but then like the next day it connects to like what we're doing, so then a lot of things make a lot more sense then to me.